Hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing the questions from ancient, medieval and art and culture which appeared in GS paper 1 in Mains 2025. So, let's have a detailed discussion over the questions. Now, you can see the first question, this was question number 1 in GS paper 1. Now, you can see the question, it's very easier. Okay, it's like you can see the difficulty level I have mentioned here. We will calculate the difficulty level as well. Here we term this question as easier. Why? See the question. Discuss the salient features of the Harappan architecture. The very basic thing when we read about Indus Valley civilization, when we read about the Harappan civilization, these are the basic things at the start what we refer to, right? It was asked to be written in 150 words. It was a 10 marker question, right? Now, first of all, let's understand that what content is required for this particular question to be solved. See, you need to understand the demand first. All the salient features associated with the Harappan architecture. Okay, they are talking about architecture, right? So we'll discuss in detail. Now, here the question in this question, like you need to stick to the architecture, right? Many of the students, they might be writing about the sculptures, they might be writing about the different seals and all, right? That is not the demand. Identify the demand. Demand is the architecture, that is the town planning and the associated things with it. Now, what can be the source which is required to be followed, or let's say ये question आप कहाँ से solve कर सकते थे? So the content given in old NCERT class 11th or the R.S. Sharma book, and even I have taught this thing in my classes as well, right? So now let's see the question, like let's see how to approach it. So in the introduction, you can give a brief idea about the Harappan civilization, the time period, right? As you can see here, Harappan civilization 2500 to 1750 BCE, right? The part of Indus Valley civilization that displayed remarkable urban planning and architectural sophistication. Now see, use such kind of words in the introduction, use such kind of phrases in the introduction from which like examiner will be getting a clear idea that what you are going to write in the body, right? So that is the reason we are talking about urban planning and architectural sophistication in the intro itself. Okay, now see the main body. What are the points which can be written in main body, or let's say which are more or less expected from you people and which are, let's say, being checked by the examiner? See, first you should be mentioning about the town planning, like cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, where grid pattern was there, right? Grid pattern. Where the streets were crossing at right angle. Then the division of area. You know that the city was divided into two parts. One was citadel, upper town, and the lower town, right? Citadel, the administrative and religious hub, where most important offices and the important things associated with the religious rituals were placed, right? And then the lower town, where residential and commercial part of the city was there, right? The third thing is the building material which you can talk about. Since we are talking about architecture, you should be talking about the building material as well. So baked bricks, right? Burnt bricks, baked bricks, that was unique to Indus Valley civilization then, right? And there was a standardized ratio. Stone and even the mud brick was also utilized, right? Mortar was there, right? Gypsum mortar, which was used as a kind of a cement then. You should definitely talk about drainage system as well. The most important thing, the like how the water management was done. So these things you should be mentioning, right? Drainage system, which covered underground drains, pits, inspection holes, which are also called as manholes, right? For the purpose of maintenance. Then public architecture. And when you are talking about public architecture, you should write about great bath, granaries, Okay, the assembly halls. You can also talk about the platforms. Then private architecture. Houses with courtyards, with private wells, bathrooms with drainage. Houses were also multi-storied. Right? दो तीन माले के घर भी मिले हैं Harappan civilization में, right? So you should talk about that, the multi-storied buildings. Then fortification. There was a massive wall for defense and for flood protection purpose. Where have we referred to this? In the city of Kalibangan, in the city of Lothal. Okay. Then functional design. The design was such that it was having some utility, some purpose was there, some function was there, like orientation of buildings for ventilation and light. You will get to see that windows were placed at a particular in particular direction on a particular wall. Why? So that light and ventilation should be proper. So all these things are there, right? There are some 7-8 points. You are expected to write minimum 7 points at least, and give the examples as well, the examples which I have given, right? So try to give the examples, then only you can stand out differently from your competitor. In the conclusion, you can sum up a few things what we have discussed. You can talk about how Harappan architecture reflected a highly organized civic sense, engineering expertise, and concern for hygiene hallmarks. So guys, see, these are the keywords: civic sense, engineering expertise, hygiene hallmarks, right? So try to utilize such keywords. On the basis of these keywords only, examiner is going to, let's say, check the things whether you have mentioned them or not. Okay, fine. Let's move to the second question. This was question number 2 in GS paper 1. Read the question. Examine the main aspects of Akbar's religious syncretism. Okay, Akbar's religious syncretism. Answer in 150 words. It was a 10-marker question. Now, guys, see the keywords what have been asked, right? First of all, it's related to the Akbar, the Mughal emperor, right? And see the word religious syncretism. What do we mean by religious syncretism? Religious syncretism means how different aspects of different religions were brought together by Akbar. How different features of different religions are reflected in the administration of Akbar, in the literature of Akbar, in paintings, in architecture, right? So it is like where different religious aspects are coming together, right? All the religions are in harmony or other, like one or the other way, right? Now, see the difficulty level. I have categorized it into an easy question. Why? Because whenever we read about Akbar, we do refer to his religious policy. We know that how tolerant he was, right? He was secular in attitude, right? And that is the reason, like, all these things are given in the basic NCERTs as well. So it is expected that you people know these basic things, right? What are the sources? In old NCERT class 11th, you will get this concept. In Satish Chandra as well, the book Satish Chandra, what we refer to for medieval, in that as well you will get the questions. And I have extensively discussed these things in my lectures as well, right? Now, let's have a look. Let's have a look over the content. What you can write. See, in the introduction, it is ideally expected that you should mention the timeline. Now see, Akbar period. It's fine. Like if you write the dates, if you write the years, it's good. But at times the dates, the years are not totally like able to be recalled, right? So it's fine. You can simply write that how in 16th century, in the later 16th century, the Akbar like had this particular things, right? So one of the greatest Mughal emperor pursued a policy of Sulikul. What is this concept of Sulikul? Universal peace. right? Fostering religious harmony and syncretism, right? So these words what we have utilized are from the question itself, right? So in the introduction itself, try to showcase your knowledge, your that what you are going to write in the body. This will be very helpful, right? Now, in main body, what are the points which are expected? The policy of tolerance first. How was the tolerance visible? Because he abolished jizya, the tax which was there imposed on non-Muslims, right? Then he also abolished the pilgrimage tax. Interfaith dialogues. You must be definitely mentioning about the architecture or the institution or the organization of Ibadat Khana, which was established at Fatehpur Sikri. Now, what was the purpose of Ibadat Khana? It was for debates with Hindu, Jain, Christian, Zoroastrian, and Muslim scholars. Now, I see from Ibadat Khana there have been a PYQ in prelims as well. So it is expected that at least you know what exactly is the concept of Ibadat Khana. You should definitely be mentioning it, right? Then inclusion in administration. You can see higher positions were given to Rajputs, Hindus like Todarmal, Birmal, okay? Man Singh, the military general of Akbar himself, right? Todarmal, the finance revenue minister, right? Birbal, one of the intellectual person who was acting as an advisory to Akbar, right? So you can see how the religious, how the important posts were given to the people belonging to different religion, to Hindus as well, right? Then marriage alliances, matrimonial ties with Rajput princes, and also religious freedom given to them, given to the wives. Okay, then Deen-e Ilahi, the must mention concept. Deen-e Ilahi. Akbar attempted to create a separate spiritual blending elements of Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism. Right? So, Deen-e Ilahi, what exactly it is? It is where all the good things from different religions are like coming together, and then this sect, we can say, was like attempted. It was a start, right? It was, let's say, begun by Akbar himself, right? Then patronage of the culture, like translation of Sanskrit texts, Mahabharata to Razmanama. Ethical principles, you can talk about emphasis on PT, respect, rationality over dogma, right? And the last thing what you can talk about is architecture as a symbol. So, Fatehpur Sikri, Buland Darwaza with Persian and Hindu motifs. You will get to see some paintings, you will get to see some scriptures written there, you will get to see some sculptures as well dedicated to Hindu and Persian related things, right? Now, in conclusion, what you can talk about? Akbar's syncretism sought to forge unity in diversity. Okay, legacy of composite culture that became a hallmark of Indian civilization. So we are talking about some futuristic conclusion. We are talking about that how Akbar's syncretism has led to the unity in diversity, has led to the legacy of composite culture, and became the hallmark of Indian civilization, what we follow even today. Okay, fine. Now, guys, read the third question. The sculptors filled the Chandela art form with resilient vigor and breadth of life. Elucidate. Right? Now, see, this is the directive word. Elucidate. Elucidate means what? You need to give examples. The sculptors filled the Chandela art form. So now the question is specifically on Chandela art form with resilient vigor and breadth of life. Resilient vigor. So see, what the question is asking about is how the sculptures found on the like in the Chandela period, right? Whether it be the normal sculptures, whether it be the sculptures associated with the Chandela temples, or the sculptures which were built during the period of Chandelas, right? They were having some unique character. What was the character, right? Elucidate with the help of an example. This is what is being asked. Again, it's a 150 word answer, 10 marker question, right? Now, I would categorize this difficulty level into moderate. Okay, many will argue that this was a difficult question, right? But why it isn't a difficult question? Why it is not that much difficult? Because the source itself, see the source from where it has been asked. Class 11th Fine Art NCRT, right? Class 11th Fine Art NCRT, Temple Architecture and Sculptures chapter. If you refer to this, there are like 4 to 5 points written under Chandela temple architecture, right? And that is the reason I would categorize it into a moderate one. Now, why we do not see this question as an easier question? Because we do cover about Gupta art form, we do cover about the Mauryan art form, we do cover about the Cholas, but Chandelas, when we come to the Chandela, right? The Chandela sculptures, the Chandela temples are not exhaustively covered in like reference books, right? Or let's say in the mainstream syllabus as such. Even the PYQs, if you see, the Chandela art form were not asked anywhere, right? And that is the reason I would see this question as quite a bit moderate, right? It's not easy, though it's from the direct source, it is moderate, but yes, it's also not that difficult. If anyone who like would have read about the NCRT chapters, right, they should have at least known that what things are there, what examples are there associated with the Chandela, right? Even in my lecture, I have talked about the Khajuraho complex, the Kandariya Mahadev temple, which again showcases the Nagara style of architecture, right? So apart from that, when we refer to the Chandelas, we don't go in that much details, right? And that is the reason we can consider this question as a moderate question, right? Now, suppose guys, suppose if such kind of question is asked in the examination where you do not know any like details about the Chandelas or specifically about the Chandelas. So there is also a trick to solve such kind of questions. Read the question once again. The sculptors filled the Chandela art form with resilience of vigor and breadth of life, right? And elucidate. Yes, definitely. Suppose any particular person who is writing the mains, like majority of the students might not be aware about the examples of Chandelas. It's fine. Just address this statement. Just write all the general points associated with the sculptures, okay, associated with the sculpture art form. At least you will get 2.5 marks as well, right? So don't leave these kind of questions. At least try to write a few generalized points, right? Now let's refer to what could have been written by this. See, I have made this mnemonic fast art. So whenever in future, suppose a question is asked with respect to the sculptures, this mnemonic will be helpful for you. What exactly it is? F means form and figures. So F, say form and figures, what you can write here is human, divine, animal and composite figures were there. That's all. Okay. Now this mnemonic is for sculptures, right? Whenever, anywhere, suppose if a question is specifically asked with respect to sculpture, and if you don't know the examples, if you don't know the technicalities, simply mention some general points at least. Don't leave that question, okay? It is said that if you complete the paper, then you are like into the race, right? So try to complete the paper within the time. Do not leave any question as such, okay? A belongs to anatomy, realism or stylization. That is naturalistic way in Harappa, idealized way in Gupta, dynamism in the medieval. You can write about this. S belongs to symbolism. What kind of symbols are usually depicted in sculptures? So religious symbols, philosophical symbols, right? Philosophical meanings are being there associated with the symbols like Buddha's mudras, erotic mithuna, then fertility motifs and all. T, the themes, religious theme, daily life theme, right? Mythology, courtly scenes, eroticism. Fine. A, aesthetics, grace, rhythm, balance, ornamentation. So these are the few keywords which I have like tried to mention here. R, regional style, distinct schools are there, right? Amravati school, Gandhara, Mathura, Chola, bronze, and then Chandela stone. And then the last one is T, that is technique. What kind of techniques they have utilized, the material, the method they have used: stone, bronze, terracotta, carving, casting, polishing. So you can, like, any question if it appears on sculptures, this is the thing which you should have, right? This is the trick which you should remember, and you can write the answer. Now specifically we'll discuss about the question which was asked. Chandela, okay, Chandela art form. So in the introduction you can mention about the Chandela rulers and the timeline, 10th to 13th century, right? Patrons of the Khajuraho temples produced an art form remarkable for vitality and spiritual symbolism. So guys, see, if you talk about Khajuraho temple architecture in the introduction itself, examiner will definitely be getting to know that you are aware about the concepts, right? So directly hit to the demand of the question in the introduction itself. Now main body में क्या है? Temple architecture, Nagar style, okay, with lofty shikhars and intricately carved mandapas on which the sculptures are also there. On the shikhars itself, the sculptures are there. So yes, this point is valid. You can set the background of mentioning the Nagar style. Now the unique thing associated with the Chandelas, the Khajuraho complex, is the erotic sculptures depicting Mithuna couples, symbolizing the fertility and the cosmic union. Okay. Then diversity of themes are there, like deities, apsara, celestial beings, daily life, musicians and dancers. These are more or less common in almost all the sculptures, right, associated with any particular patron. Then dynamic postures, sculptures in tribhanga and graceful curves, right? So you can mention all these things, right? Realism and vigor, spiritual integration like erotic alongside divine, reflecting the Hindu philosophy of life as unity of dharma, artha, kam and moksha. Then the narrative panels which are mentioning about the episodes from epics like Mahabharata, symbol of patronage, flourished under the king Danga and successors, right? So you can mention the examples as such, right? Now conclusion, keep it very simple. If you are not able to understand anything, just write the example and the Chandela art form associated with it, right? So Chandela art at Khajuraho represents a celebration of life, blending spiritual transcendence with human vitality. So what we have done here, we have utilized the keywords from the question itself, tried to utilize such kind of keywords from the question itself in intro, in conclusion, right? And you can also talk about the UNESCO World Heritage status which is being associated with the Khajuraho temple complex, okay? And that is all with respect to the discussion of ancient, medieval and art and culture questions of Mains 2025. We'll be back with some another video. In the meantime, all the best.